Hello, hello. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hey, Julie, how are you? I'm so tired. It was a day. Ugh. I had every large cabin we had today and a park model and like 4 or 5 other rooms. 5 other rooms. It was a day all by myself. I'm just ready for the week to be over, honestly. I'm ready for Friday because that's my next day off, I should say. Oh, if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Oh, my coworkers, you mean the ones that don't come to work? Like yesterday, I was the only housekeeper that showed up. Yeah. Thank you for the badge, Richard. I appreciate that. Yeah, my bosses were up at the lodge yesterday. I think they did 12 rooms. I just dropped my pen, darn it. I think they had 12 rooms. I had 10 yesterday by myself. But I only had one cabin, one of our bigger cabins. Today I had all 4. No, 3. All 3 of them with a park model. So, plus 5 other rooms. And one of the other rooms is a bigger room. So, all I can say is thank God for the bed gods because thank God I had a bunch of beds that weren't used. That's all I can say. But anyway, if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hey, Fred, I see you up there. So tonight, guys, we're going to talk about, are you fulfilled? So I was like asking her this afternoon, I was like, hi. I was like, what are we going to talk about? And I got nothing. And I was like, I'm just going to go take a hot bath. Maybe I'll feel better. And then in the bathtub, it came to me. And I was like, okay, so now if I can remember it before I get out. Because, anybody else have that problem where it's like, I can think of something in the bedroom and walk to the kitchen to write it down and it's gone? So yeah, so I was like, okay. So I just kept saying it over and over in my head before I got out of the bathtub. So I could remember what I was supposed to talk about tonight so I could look it up. So if you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. We'll give it just another minute and then I'll get going. Thank you for all the likes. I appreciate that. I'm Caroline from Boston. It's so nice to be here. I have pretty bad anxiety, but I'm working on it. Well, hi, Caroline. Welcome. Glad to have you here. You're in the right place for that. So you do realize that usually anxiety is just a manifestation of some kind of a trauma, right? Christopher, thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. And thank you for the badge, Caroline. If you're just hopping on. And then there's my cat right on schedule. He was on the bed until as soon as like 2 seconds before I was going to hit the live button. And then he decides he's going to sit at the door. Itty bitty, stop. Come here. Come here. If I can get him to lay on the bed, he's a good boy the whole time. But otherwise he does this. He's not happy. Anyway. All right, guys. Well, I think we'll get going. Looks like we're just going to plateau off. So if you're just hopping on tonight, tell us who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. I started my TikTok in March of 2024. The reason I started my TikTok is because in September of 2023, my husband unalived himself. And that's when I discovered that I had abilities to talk to my spirit guides, and they slowly breadcrumb me to my purpose, medical trauma. Okay. Yep, that would make sense. And so like I said, they slowly breadcrumb me to my purpose, which is that I had to go through everything that I went through, in order to help other people, through their loss and their trauma. If you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. And so that's why I'm here. I drug my feet for a while because I'm not technologically challenged, I should say. And so I was like, yeah, I don't know how to do that. Angela, thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. And so I always like to say, I am on my journey of life where I am. I apologize, I'm tired, so my brain is muddled tonight. Let's see. Donna, thank you for the badge. Angie from New Hampshire, welcome. So anyway, so I always like to say I am on my journey of life where I am, and you are on your journey of life where you are, and none of us are going to agree on everything. So on my page, we agree to disagree. We talk about things here that are controversial, so please don't report me. Brett, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. And so sometimes you might hear something on my page that you disagree with, right? We all have our own opinions, and sometimes we're not going to agree. So I just ask, if you can't do that, you hop off and keep scrolling. I only have 2 rules here. The first one is I ask that you just be kind. And the second one is, as we talk absolutely no politics here, it's just not at all what my page is about. And there's a million other pages out there for that. So tonight, my guides usually give me the topic when I go live. Itty bitty, stop. Oh, sorry guys. My cat's just being a pistol tonight. So tonight's topic is, are you fulfilled? Is what my guide give me. And so we're going to talk about that tonight. Are you fulfilled? Are you being fulfilled in your life? So when I got out of the tub, because she gave me that in the tub, and she said, look it up. Aw, thank you for the heart. I appreciate that, Angela, so much. Did I miss something else here? Sorry, just going to scroll back. Okay. Thank you for all the likes too, guys. I appreciate that. Keep them coming. That does help. Okay. So the definition of being fulfilled, and like I said, I really cannot talk tonight because I'm tired. So I can't talk any night, and tonight's going to probably be worse. So just bear with me. I'm going to muddle through this. Eddie, thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. If you're just joining us, tell us who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee and I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. We're talking about, are you fulfilled? And so my guide said, I want you to look it up. And so what it said is, to feel a profound sense of happiness, satisfaction, and contentment because I can't read my writing either, because you're living a purposeful life, fully developing and using your abilities and achieving your desires and your goals, which I find is interesting because how many people put achieving their desires and their goals as part of their life being fulfilled, do you think? I mean, honestly, most people probably just think, I'm a happy person, I'm fulfilled, right? So we're going to talk about the different ways of what being fulfilled looks like. To fulfill yourself personally means to follow your inner passion, right? For me, I have to honestly say, since I've discovered my purpose, I am more fulfilled than I have ever been in my entire life. Now, don't get me wrong. I love my kids. I loved my husband. And I loved my life. But at the same time, something was always missing, right? And so I can honestly say, since I discovered my purpose in life, because I knew that was missing. I knew that there was, I can remember going to bed many nights and I would cry myself to sleep. And my husband would say, what is the matter with you? And I would say, something is missing. I don't know what, right? I didn't know what. I wasn't being fulfilled, right? I was going through the motions every day of, taking care of my kids and living my married life. I was going through those motions, but at the same time, I was living in survival mode, never quite feeling fulfilled. Anybody else have that? And hopefully they're going to let comments come through tonight, because the other night they weren't coming through at all. Cat, stop. Where is he at? Get down. Sorry, guys. My cat is just being... Oh, I nailed him. Sorry. I don't condone animal abuse. He didn't hurt him, I promise. Stacy, thank you for the badge. You relate 100%, right? And so, like I said, I had all this stuff, right? Like I was married for 30 years. I had my kids, I had my grandkids, but I always felt something was missing. That passion, that spark for life, right? Yes, I am also in acceptance commitment therapy, which I try to focus on in general, and I am doing. Okay, all right. I've never heard of that, but you're welcome to share what that is. Am I on welfare? No, I am not. No, I am not. Since my husband has passed, if I have to eat beans, I eat beans, just so you know. I am not. I work 2 jobs, and I take care of myself. So, no, I am not. Not that it's any of your business, Roscoe, but no, I am not. Carol, thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. Richard, thank you for the follow. Julie, thank you for all the likes. Something that aligns with my values. Okay, awesome. Okay, I'm never against anything that helps you better yourself. So I'll just tell you that right now. Okay, so why is being fulfilled so important? Anybody want to talk to me tonight? I forgot to say we're not shy here. My page depends on your interaction with me. So anybody want to talk to me tonight else? Keep going. You guys are doing good and telling me stuff. Why is it important to feel fulfilled? When you raise a family, a lot of your dreams are put on hold. Yes, exactly. And I started raising mine at 17. So I literally went from being a teenager to a mom. And, sadly, the bad thing about that is that I didn't even know who I was as a person yet. So that did not help either, right? I didn't know who I was. So I couldn't love myself, because how can you love yourself if you don't even know who you are, right? Missy, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. If you're just joining us, tell us who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. Tonight we're talking about, are you fulfilled? So why is being fulfilled so important? Well, like I said, for me, up until my husband passed, Hugh, thank you for the follow. Go back to being a mature teenager. Well, I kind of am. I guess you could kind of say I'm kind of back to the teenage years, because I'm doing things now for me and things that I didn't do right then, because I'm single and I can, and I don't have, all my children are grown, right? Oh, thank you, Hugh. I appreciate that so much. And so for me, why it's important is, like I said, I lived over half my life, or I would say probably half my life, without having that fulfillment, right? And so this is part of my goal on here, is helping people through their loss and their trauma. But my guide also stresses a lot of helping people not only to heal through that, but okay, so now you've healed that loss, you've healed that trauma. Now what, right? And not leaving people hanging in that next part, right? That's what's so important, is that you can help somebody through their loss and through their trauma, and then they get that healed, and then the next step is forgotten, which to me is okay, now I've healed that. Hopefully I know who I am. I love who I am. What's next, right? And not just leave that person hanging. So that's why we talk about all this other stuff, is because I don't want to leave you hanging, right? I want you to be a fulfilled person. I want you to be a healed, fulfilled person. And so that is my goal, and that's why we talk about these things. And like I said, I feel like that's an extremely important addition to, not only healing your trauma and healing your loss, but coming out of it as a fulfilled person, because we deserve to be happy and at peace. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. My train of thought was just, I was getting there, but it was like, my brain was on a detour. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much for adding that. Exactly. We deserve to be happy and fulfilled, right? At the same time. So, it is long-lasting, eternal sense of wellness, right? Or wholeness, not wellness. Can't read my writing tonight. What defines a fulfilled life? The experience of using your unique talents and skills, right? I'm finding that I obviously have a talent to helping people to discover how to heal. I'm not healing them. I'm here to help people discover how to heal themselves, right? OMG, you're so pretty with your alopecia. What does that mean? I don't think so. Is a full, let me go back. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything in the chat. Is a full fulfillment or lack of adventure. Are you asking me? Is that a question, Richard? Why did the coffee? Thank you for the joke. Appreciate that. Always can use humor. Life can always use humor. Thank you for the badge. Okay. So, the experience of using your unique talents and skills, right? So that's where a lot of people, I think, fall short, because they're like, I don't know what I'm good at. I don't know what my skills are. I don't know what my unique talents are. And, you know, whether you believe God, creator, source, universe, whatever it is you say and believe, right? Give us all unique talents and gifts, right? I seem to be able to help people. And so that's why I'm here. This is what my purpose is. I have a talent, I can sew, right? And I help people that way. But we all have unique talents and skills. And so, yes, did you mean, yes, that was a question? It's probably, I would say both, right? What did you say again? Hold on, let me go back. Is a full fulfillment or lack of adventure? I think it's both, right? Like you need to be fulfilled and you need to have adventure in your life, right? Joy, whatever that looks like for you, right? And so that's part of the process. Like I said, once you've worked your way through maybe a loss or trauma, then it's like, okay, then it's time to look at, okay, what am I good at? What are my unique talents and skills? How can I use that to help myself and maybe help the world, right? So let's see. Working towards a goal that you believe in is of vital importance to the world, right? And so there again, you know, that's something that I think, and Richard, you said, right? We have a tendency to put our dreams on hold, right? And that's the problem, is we have so many people with a lack of, you know, they just don't think they can ever live their dream, right? You can do that doing many different things, no limits. Yes, I believe in no limits. I agree with that. Hopefully we're on the same brainwave, because I'm really tired tonight, Richard. But I agree, you know, there shouldn't be limits, right? Who puts limits on us? We do, right? We're the ones that put limits on us. True, and I want to be a social worker, but grad school is expensive. Okay, Carol. So let me ask you a question. What else could you do to help others kind of in that field where maybe you didn't have to go to grad school? Just asking. I don't know. You know what I mean? Think outside the box. Freedom of speech. Okay. You know what I mean? We need to learn to think outside the box, right? The world has taught us there's only one way to do this, one way to do this, only one way to this path, right? You want to help people, you want to be a social worker. Well, there's only way. You got to go to grad school. Think outside the box. That's what I'm going to tell you, right? I'm here. My guides tell me that all the time, to push, to tell people, think outside the box. Step out of that box. Actually, get rid of the box, right? Get rid of that box that the world puts you in that says you have to do this or go to school or to do this. Get rid of the box. Use your imagination. Use the gifts and talents you have and find a way to help people if you can't go to grad school. I'm 72, been for good behavior for a long time. You know, and that's the whole thing, is sometimes you got to step outside of the box and go, I don't have any degrees. I'm on here helping people, you know, and I don't even know where some of this stuff comes from, right? There's times where it's like things come out of my mouth and I've asked my guides, I'm like, I don't even know where that came from. Where did that come from? And my guide said, many lifetimes. I've learned lots of things through many of lifetimes. And the reason I have is so when I got to this lifetime and this purpose, voila, right? So I'm on here. Getting online is free, right? Well, internet, but you know what I'm saying. Think outside the box. Get rid of the box. Step out of the box. Find a way to help people, right? You know, what happens if you sit back and go, okay, well, I want to go to grad school to be a social worker. Well, and Jen, do you care if I use you as an example? Jen, are you there? Sorry, I'm just waiting for my friend. No, you don't care? So, for example, my friend Jen has a couple degrees, don't you, Jen? At least one, right? And so she could help people. And she's finding other ways to help people. And she's not even, you know, technically using that degree, right? So there are ways, but let me go back and read your comment. I missed that, Carol. I'm trying to think. I value being kind to others in general. Yeah, see, she has a master's and a bachelor's degree. And we are finding ways together. Her and I, grad school was a waste of money. See, where we're going to change the world. I can tell you that right now. And I have no degree, and she'll tell you right there, it's a waste of money, right? There are ways to help people. You have to step out of the box. You know, you can sit back. I'm just going to say this, and I'm not coming down on you, Carol, at all. I just want to tell you, okay, so my grandma always had a saying. There's two types of people, right? There's those that find a way and those that make excuses. And I'm not saying you're the type of person to make excuses. I'm playing devil's advocate for a second here. So just hear me out. You know, you can sit back and go, well, I really want to help people, but I can't afford grad school. So I'm just going to put that on the back burner. Or you can step outside of the box, figure out another way to use your abilities and your gifts to help people that doesn't require you going to grad school and spending that kind of money that you don't have, right? And helping others. So just saying, I just like to play devil's advocate here too, by the way. I'm not trying to be mean. Okay. So what are some ways someone might feel fulfilled? People who are most healthy, happy, and fulfilled are those that, one, love themselves, right? And you'll find on just about all of my lives that we talk about, almost everything comes back to loving yourself, right? Once you learn to love yourself, you no longer need validation from anyone. So you don't care what anybody thinks anymore. And it's so freeing to do what you want to do and be the person that you want to be. So if you want to be the type of person that helps somebody, you know, you can do that. And you can do whatever you want to do without worrying about what somebody thinks about it, right? I'm sure I have, well, I had trolls the other night, right? I'm sure I have lots of people that have an opinion. Well, let me just tell you, I had somebody on my YouTube this morning tell me that I'm a witch. And I'm like, I'm not a witch. And because I said I wasn't a witch, and I don't remember what else I said because I made the comment at like 3 o'clock this morning or something like that. They came back with, I need to get on my meds, right? Because I'm sure they think I'm a schizophrenic. I'm not schizophrenic. I'm a medium. I'm a psychic medium, and I'm proud of that, right? Because the world has put certain people in a box, right? If you're a psychic medium, you're bad or you're evil, whatever, right? We got to get rid of these boxes that the world's put everybody in. Thank you for the badge, Jen. I appreciate that. Right? So, learning to love yourself. Sorry, I kind of squirreled there. I'm good at that. Know who you are, right? And like I was telling Richard earlier, You know, I had my first daughter at 17, right? I didn't know who I was. So how could I love myself when I didn't even know who I was, right? And so that's extremely important is, you know, learning to love yourself, figuring out who you are. Those are the two main components there, right? Know what you want out of life. I didn't know what I wanted out of life. I had a baby at 17 and I started popping out babies, right? So here I was at 17 to 23. That's funny, Richard. You know, so here I was between 17 and 23. I didn't know who I was. I didn't love myself. I didn't know what I wanted out of life. All I knew that I was, you know, gonna get married and have babies, and that's it. And hopefully I'm not going to glitch because it just told me I had an unstable connection. So those things are extremely important to figure out, right? If you feel stuck or not fulfilled, if you don't feel fulfilled, say that 5 times fast. Take care of themselves. People who feel fulfilled take care of themselves, right? That's something that I'm working on, right? I love myself now. I know who I am. I don't need validation from anybody, but I'm learning how to take care of myself because for 25, 30 years, I took care of a husband and I took care of kids and grandkids at some points, right? So I'm learning how to take care of myself. Hugely important. Let go of unpleasant experiences. So people who are fulfilled don't hold on to experiences, right? Don't hold on. Well, this person, like this morning, right? I could have all day stewed on the guy said that I was a witch, right? I don't care. I could give a crap less what the guy said, right? But I'm just using that as an example of people will talk, people will say things. I don't hold on to it. You don't hold on to what people say. Don't hold on to experiences. If you want to be fulfilled, you have to learn how to let things go. And more than my medical conditions, I'm Caroline. I'm sorry. I knew it was Caroline too. I apologize. I'm a runner and love animals, etc. Okay. So how can you use all of those skills to help people, Caroline? I just didn't want to say it wrong because I thought it was Caroline, but with my tired brain, I couldn't remember. So I apologize. You're a runner. So how can, you know, maybe you coordinate, you know, you want to help people. How could you help people? You coordinate a run, right? Some kind, I assumed you do like marathons or something. Coordinate a run to help raise money to help people, right? Something that a social, so if you're as a social worker, I can't talk, as a social worker, say that 5 times fast when you're tired, you know, you are probably helping families, right? So, and most of the time I would say those are low income families, right? So how could you use being a runner to help low income families and not have to get the grad certificate? Right? I'm just using that as an example. I don't know. I'm just saying, think outside the box, step out of the box, get rid of the box, erase the box. Your love of animals, same thing. You know, do you volunteer to help take care of animals? You know, maybe you find a way to open up something that, you know, a shelter or something of animals of your own. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there so you can understand what I'm talking about when I say erase the box and use the things that those unique talents and gifts that God has given you, right? I know shelters all the time need people to come in and help walk animals and feed them and pet them and just play with them, right? I don't know. Anyway, my thing quit going. No worries at all. Animal therapy. There you go. Exactly. Good one, Jen. Okay. So let's see. We let go of unpleasant experiences, practice empathy and compassion, right? This is one thing that I have changed in the last 2 years since I've lost my husband. I'm learning to be more, I mean, I've always been an empath, but for me, I'm learning to stay in my own lane and go, you know what? You're on your journey of life where you are and I am where I am, and not have an opinion, right? I just show you compassion for where you are on your journey, right? I am where I am and you are where you are supposed to be, right? We are all on our journey of life exactly where we're supposed to be. And so I just have empathy and compassion for other people, right? Just love people right where they are on their own journey. Grandchildren love crazy grandparents. Well, mine are starting to get to that age where they don't want to be around this crazy grandma. So, and this crazy grandma has changed a lot. So I think my children are finding it hard to relate to me because I'm not the person that I was 2 years ago, right? I'm not even the person, probably, am I the same person I was 6 months ago, Jen? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? So my grandkids are probably struggling to relate to me like they used to. Plus they're at that age where they'd rather spend time with their friends, right? So it makes it hard. Okay. So find meaning in what you're doing, right? So whatever it is you're doing right now, find meaning in it. That is part of your journey. Whether you like it or you hate it, whatever you are doing right now is still part of your journey, right? That's that you're building a chapter in your story of life. Sorry, guys. My allergies have been kicking my butt and I have crap draining down the back of my throat, so I apologize. So find meaning, be present, be grateful, and remember that whatever you're doing right now in this moment is part of your journey, building that chapter in your book for the future. I like art, so art therapy for others. Yep, exactly. Like I said, just erase that box. Get rid of it. Leave it in the other world. Okay. Are you selective with your circle and relationships, right? Jen knows my circle is very small. Since my husband's passed, I'm more about quality now than quantity, right? I don't need a ton of friends. I don't need that. I want quality people, quality relationships. And if you're not going to be quality, in my life, then I will probably keep you at an arm's length. And stop comparing yourself to others. I feel like I need to work on that. Yep. And part of that too, have you ever heard the phrase, the saying, I apologize, I cannot talk tonight. Have you ever heard the saying, Caroline, comparison is the thief of joy? Have you ever heard that? And you know why that is, right? Because while we're busy comparing ourselves to others, we're giving up our joy. And so some of that comes with self-esteem, loving yourself, knowing who you are, all of that, right? Because you no longer compare yourself. You no longer need validation from others once you love yourself. That's extremely important. I apologize, guys. This crap is draining. It's awful. I've had the worst. It's just, I don't know if it's the pollen. Of course, I work out in the hills, so it's just absolutely insane. If I haven't said this in a while, if you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee, and I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. It's okay. You have so much allergies. It's just awful because it's stuck back there. It's like this thick stuff, and it just it don't go up. It doesn't come down. It just kind of stays back there, and it gags you, right? Sorry, not to be gross. TMI. Okay, so are you selective with your circle and your relationships? If you're not, you should be. Because people who are fulfilled are. Like I said, it's more about quality, not quantity, right? Okay, enjoy the journey and are you present? So I just talked about that a little bit already. Enjoying the journey. Because right now, where you are in your journey of life, sometimes we're going through, I always say life is a roller coaster, right? We're going up and down, and sometimes we're in a down. And I've been in a down for a while, right? And I'm praying I'm going to start coming up. But right now, while I'm in that down, I'm still trying to find my joy, be present, and realize that right here in this moment, it's still part of my journey, and it's still writing the chapter of my next book, right? Which is my life. Okay. All right. Waking up, knowing what your soul's true purpose is, what you're meant to be doing, and everything just makes sense, right? And like I said, for years I would go to bed and I would just cry. You know, my husband would be like, what is the matter with you, right? And I'm like, I wasn't fulfilled, right? I didn't know what my purpose was, even though I could feel it. It was like I had this longing to know what my purpose was. Excuse me. And, you know, and so now that I know what my purpose is and where I'm headed, it makes things so much better. Like I said, I can get up and I feel like, you know, just getting on here every day, well, not every day, but a lot of days with you guys, right? That is fulfilling for me, right? And so it's like knowing that that's my soul's true purpose, is to be here and to help other people. And knowing the projects that I have planned for my future is my soul's purpose. It's just, it's like, it's a whole new sense of peace that you don't have before. I'm probably not making a lot of sense there, but like I said, and then everything just makes sense. It's like, yeah, finally my life makes sense. Why I went through the struggles I have, all of the loss, everything that I've went through, everything just makes sense now that I know my soul's purpose. Okay, daily habits for somebody who feels fulfilled. Waking up and asking, how can I help others? Right? That's important. Doing something that stretches you, stepping out of your comfort zone, right? Maybe you don't like to talk in front of people, but you know, maybe going on a live or just doing a Facebook live is stepping out of your comfort zone, but it's pushing you to whatever your goal and your soul purpose is. You know, that's stepping out, right? If you're not doing it in fear, you should be doing it in fear, right? Does that make sense? Because if you're not stepping out in fear, you're not growing, right? In order to grow, you have to step out in fear. A little bit anyway, even if it's just baby steps. Let's see. Doing something physical, exercise, right? Taking care of yourself, watching what you're eating, drinking enough water, which I am so guilty of not doing, right? And I'm getting better, right? And that goes along with taking care of yourself. And I'm learning how to do this. And that's why I do all these too, guys. I'm learning right here alongside of you guys too, right? Why do you think my guide, when I get on and we talk about a topic at that night, this is my guy going, slapping me up upside the head going, well, you're not getting it, so you're going to get on and talk about it, so you get it too, right? So this is their way of getting it through my head too. Okay, taking time for you, taking time away, right? Let me have a drink. Knowing that if you're not fulfilled or satisfied with your life, key phrase, your life, you can change it, right? You are the author of your story. Only you can rewrite your story. Okay, guys, that's all I have for that. Does anybody have any questions or anything they wanted to add? You're all so quiet again tonight. Am I not getting comments again? Although I got a lot earlier. Anybody? Anything they want to add to that? Okay, while I'm waiting to see if there's any comments. If you're not familiar, I also have a YouTube channel that is under Scorpio Medium. If you're not a subscriber, I would love it if you went over there and subscribed. All the videos that you find uploaded here, you'll find over there. The only difference is that if you would like to catch a live and you miss it, I upload those over there so you can hit the replay over there. It's hard to push myself outside of my comfort zone at times. We all struggle with that, Caroline. That is so normal. Just so tired. Exactly. I'm so tired too. Yeah. Thank you for the badge too, Caroline. I appreciate that. But we all struggle, right? And sometimes to get better at it, just taking baby steps, right? Just baby steps, right? Whatever that looks like for you. If you are interested in getting a radium, I had medium on the brain, a radium. Wow. If you didn't catch it, Scorpio medium, I am a medium. I'm a psychic medium, actually. And if you would like a full reading, you can go to my bio down below and find my email. If you email me, we can set up one of those if you're interested in one of those. I'm generally live Sunday through Wednesday, 7:30 Mountain Time. Last night I wasn't, another long day at work. But I try to be as consistent as possible, but I am human. Just keep that in mind. Starting on Wednesdays now, starting last Wednesday, we're doing mini read Wednesdays. That's my guide's way of saying you need to practice. So I am now doing medium and psychic questions, mini reads on Wednesday nights at 7:30. Robert, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. What did that say? Oh. Somebody's talking to you, Julie. I was like, what are you trying to tell me? But it looks like somebody's trying to talk to you. So anyway, so like I said, we're starting to do mini reads. There's just a couple rules for those. If you hop on Wednesday night, which will be tomorrow night at 7:30 Mountain Time, is you just have to kind of, if you have a medium question, so if you want somebody to come through, all I need is a name and your name, and then you would get on the list with my moderator. If you have a psychic question, I prefer if it's a specific question. It's a lot easier since we only have a short amount of time. And I'm just learning how to do this on a live. So, yeah. So I lean more towards my mediumship, and my guides are trying to get me to use more of my psychic abilities. So, all right, so there's that. And then last but not least, I have a Venmo down below in my bio. If you would like to leave me a tip, buy me a soda, or just contribute to my channel, it's all greatly appreciated. I appreciate that so very much. Obviously, you're never obligated to donate, but if you would like to help out the channel, because I do put a lot of time in this, that would be greatly appreciated. Okay, guys, that's pretty much everything I have. Does anybody have anything else? Anybody? Nobody? Just a quiet group again. You guys were doing good earlier though, so I appreciate you. Okay, I do appreciate you guys so very much. Without all of you guys, I wouldn't have a channel. So my channel is your channel. That's what my community is for. So if anybody has anything, you know, you need to hop on and talk about a loss or anything like that, that's what we talk about here also. So like I said, my channel is your channel. I appreciate all the love that everybody gave me tonight so very, very much. All the likes, all the hearts, everything. All the follows. I appreciate that so very, very much. Join tomorrow. Okay, Caroline, sorry, I apologize. Hopefully I'll remember by tomorrow. But yeah, tomorrow, 7:30 Mountain Time, and we'll be doing mini reads. So I hope you all have a great night. Remember to make tomorrow great, because it is a choice. And I will see y'all tomorrow at 7:30 until we meet again.